The Plum in the Golden Vase Original Version Chapter 32. Sister Li Gui seeks out her daughter and Pan Jinlian is jealous. It is said that all the officials were drinking and dispersing that day, but Simon King still left his uncle Wu, his second uncle, Count Ying, and Grand Empress Cixi behind. He sent the musicians to wait for the banquet and dinner, and then said, "If you come here every tomorrow, I will treat the forefathers in the county to a banquet. I will prepare all the dishes. I will reward you every time." Everyone was happy. Gong Dao, young man, I'm always careful. Tomorrow I'll wear official clothes and new clothes to promise. After dinner and wine, he kowtowed. After a long time, Sister Li Gui and Wu Yin'er came out with their heads bowed, and said with a smile, "Dad, it's late. The sedan is here. I'll just go." Earl Ying said, "My son, you are quite at ease. The two dads are here. If you don't want to sing a song to listen to Daddy, why don't you go?" Sister Gui said, "If you don't say this, you shouldn't be sold as a mew dog. I don't go home every 2 days, and my mother doesn't know how to look forward to it." Earl, what's wrong with you? Simon King said, "What's wrong with you?" The jade yellow plums were pinched together. Simon King said, "Well, let's teach 2 of them to do it. I've been working hard for days. Let's ask Li Ming and Wu Hua to sing." She asked, "Have you eaten?" Sister Gui said, "Just now, the aunt left me to eat." So we all kowtowed and went down. Simon King said, "You two will come here the day after tomorrow, and call to more for me, whether it is Zheng Xianger or Han Qinshuer. I will invite relatives and friends to have a drink." The count said, "I created this little whore. Teach me," he screamed and asked for money. Sister Gui said, "You are not a quarrelsome person. How can you know how to be kind?" After saying that, she started laughing. The Earl asked, "Brother, who are you inviting me to today?" Simon King said, "That day, I'm going to invite Mr. Kiao, my 2 uncles, Brother Hua, Uncle Shen, and all the other brothers to have a happy day." The Earl said, "I can't tell you, I disturb my brother too much every time. The day after tomorrow, we should come early and work as assistant bosses with my brother." Simon King said, "This is for the 2 of you to take care of it." After saying this, Li Ming, Wu Hui brought up the musical instrument and sang a set. Uncle Wu and everyone else stood up together. One night is not a problem. The next day, Simon King invited officials from 4 houses in the county. Prime Minister Zhu Nai arrived early that day, and Simon King invited him to wait for tea in the rolling shed. Zhu Nixiang asked, "Didn't the Liu family send gifts?" Simon King said, "Alt Eunuch Liu did." After a long time, Zhu Nixiang wanted to invite his brother to come and have a look. "I will extend his life to him." Simon King couldn't refuse, so he had to teach Diane to talk behind him and carry his brother out. After a while, the adoptive mother carried Brother Guan out to the head of the corner gate, and Diane caught him at the top. When Zhu Nixiang saw it, he just cheered, "What a good brother." Then he called, "Where is the young man?" After a while, 2 family members and Xing Yi took out 2 boxes of gifts in gold square boxes, fire flash and a red official satin box. Horses, for gold-plated silver coins of happiness, longevity and coroning. 1 bowling goer, a pastel painting of longevity star with chasing gold, and 2 tails of 8 silver treasures. Said, "It's nothing to be a poor minister. These small courtesy are as playing tricks on my brother." Simon King bowed and thanked him. "Thank you for your trouble." After reading, he took his brother back to his room without mentioning it. Simon King accompanied him to tea, and then served the food first. After eating just now, it was suddenly reported, "Father from Sizai has arrived." Simon King hurriedly adjusted his clothes and went out to greet him. It was the county magistrate Li Daishan, together with the county prime minister Jin Cheng, the chief registrar Ren Tingui, and the county official Jia Gongji. Everyone sends their greetings first, and then goes to the hall to say the ceremony. Xiangzu was invited to appear, and the officials asked Zhu Nixiang to sit in chief during the banquet. I was accompanied by Shang Juren. The guests sat down separately and were handed a round of tea. After a while, drums and music played at the foot of the stairs. Music were played, and wine was passed to people sitting on the stairs. The Jiao Feng presented the unveiling notice. Zhu Nixiang selected for folds of Han Xiangzi's ascension to immortality and danced it several times, which was very neat. Zhu Nixiang was very happy and called his left and right to bring out slings of money to reward the musicians. Not only did the officials drink wine until late that day, but when Sister Li Gui arrived home, she saw Simon King serving as the executioner and making plans with Jin Po. The next day, I bought a 4-color gift and made a pair of women's shoes. The education worker came first in a sedan chair early in the morning, carrying a box and a load, to ask the moon goddess to be my godmother. When he came in, he bowed 4 times and 8 times to Yunyang with a smile, and then kowtowed to his girl and Simon King. She coaxed Yunyang to be filled with joy and said, "I received a big gift from your mother the day before yesterday. And today I have taught you to take the trouble to buy these many gifts." Sister Gui smiled and said, "Mom said that now that my father has become an official, he is no better than me. Then we often go inside. I would rather just be a goddaughter, so that relatives can come and go, and the house is easy to move around." Yunyang hurriedly taught him to take off his clothes and sit, because she asked, "Why don't Sister Wu Yin and those to come?" Sister Gui said, "Wu Yin'er, I met him yesterday, but he still didn't come for some reason. The day before yesterday, my father told me to call Zhang Xianger and Han Jinshuo. When I came, his sedan chair was at the front of the door. I was afraid he wouldn't come too." Before they finished speaking, they saw Yin'er and Xianger, and a young pink-haired girl, wearing a bright red gauze shirt, came in carrying clothes and bags. They kowtowed to the Moon Mother first. Wu Yin'er saw Sister Li Gui taking off her clothes and sitting on the king, and said, "Sister Gui, you are a good person. You came here first without waiting for me." Sister Gui said, "I'll wait for you to come. Mom will see my sedan chair at the head of the door," he said. "I'm afraid Sister Yin will go first. So go quickly, who knows you always come late." Yunyang smiled and said, "It's not too late." Yin asked, "Sister, please go up." "What's your last name?" Wu Yin'er said. "He is Han Jinchuaner's sister, Yu Chuaner." After a while, Xiao Yu set the table, placed 8 plates of tea and 2 plates of snacks, and sent the 4 singers to eat. Sister Li Gui showed off that he was Yunyang's goddaughter. She was sitting on Yunyang's bed, peeling nuts and packing fruit boxes with Yuxiao. Wu Yin'er and 3 others were sitting on the stool below. Sister Gui shook her head and called once, "Sister Yuxiao, I'm tired of you. If you have a cup of tea, bring it to me." Then she called again, "Sister Xiao Yu, if you have some water, bring me some. I'll wash it." This hand, Xiao Yu took a tin basin and scooped out water and washed his hands with him. Everyone stared at Wu Yin'er and dared not speak. Sister Gui said again, "Sister Yin, the 3 of you bring instruments and sing a song for your mother to listen to." I sang it first. Yunyang and Li Jiar sat across from each other. Seeing what he said, Wu Yin'er had no choice but to take the musical instrument. At the moment, Zhang Xianger played the zither, Wu Yin'er played the pipa, and Han Yuchuaner sang along, singing a set of 8 sounds of ganjo and flowers covering the quilu. After singing for a moment, put down the instrument. Wu Yin'er first asked Yunyang, "How many official guests did your father invite to dinner today?" Yunyang said, "Your father invited all relatives and friends today." Sister Gui said, "You didn't invite those to father-in-law today." Yunyang said, "Not today. And yesterday, there was only Prime Minister Zhu. The man named Liu didn't come." Sister Gui said, "Eunuch Liu is fine, but Eunuch Zhu is stubborn and has lost his spirit of pinching people." Yunyang said, "You are an official. It's nothing. Just let him do what he wants for a while." Sister Gui said, "Mom, what I said is good. People who beg him to do anything are panic." Just as she said that, she saw Diana came in to get the fruit box and saw the 4 of them sitting in the room. He said, "Half of the guests have arrived. 7 or 8 are waiting to be seated. Why don't you pack them up quickly?" Yunyang asked. "Who is coming in front?" "Are you there?" Diane said. "Uncle Kiao, Uncle Hua, Uncle, Second Uncle, and Father Z are all here today." Sister Gui asked, "Are you Ying'er Huazi and Zhu Mazi today?" Dan said, "There are 10 people in the meeting. Not one of them is missing. Ying'er's father has been here since Chenxi. He asked him to do something, So he just came. Sister Gui said, Master Kula, I don't know how early or late I have been entangled in this knife-wielding incident. I'm not going out today. I'd rather sing in the house and listen to my mother. Diane said, You are quite at ease. He took out the fruit box, went. Sister Gui said, Mom doesn't know yet. Mazi couldn't hold his tongue at the banquet. He only heard him talking. And Rao Ren was scolding him, but he ignored him. He and Sensazui were so shameless. Double quotes Zhang Xianger said, Mazi, Hu Chang and Yinger left, came to my place with Zhang Zhaoguaner the day before yesterday. They took 10 taels of silver and wanted to invite my sister Ayur. My mother said, I just taught Nanren how to comb her hair. It's not even a month ago and Nanren hasn't gotten up yet. How can I keep you here? He said that he refused again and again. Matao's mother became anxious and locked the door upside down to prevent her from coming out to see him. The second official, Zhang, was very rich. He was riding a big white horse and was followed by 4 or 5 young men. He sat in each hall and didn't care about me. Zhu was so anxious that he pouted and knelt in the courtyard and said, Please come out at any rate. Mom, come and collect the money. I just want to see Sister Yu once and wait for a cup of tea. I will go there every time. It makes me laugh every time. I'm just like a flood complainant. What a sleazy businessman, Wu Yin'er said. Second Officer Zhang brought Dong Mauer first. Zhang Xianger said, Because I burned to pots in Mauer's tiger's mouth and stayed with him for a long time. So I left today. I'm here. He looked at Sister Gui and said, Yesterday I met Zhou Shouer outside the door. I told you that I went to your house with Nayur the day before yesterday, and you were not there. Sister Gui winked and said, I'm here. When Dad comes to his house, he has invited my sister Gui King. Zhang Xianger said, You and he have no acquaintance at all, so why are you so close to each other? Sister Gui said, Liu Jur, who is good in Japan, treat him like he is a lonely old man. What kind of traitor? Why don't Shikshi Chue kill me? He came out for some reason and told everyone he met, and I didn't look at him because he was angry. Mom said, You are only in my house, and let's buy something and see if it doesn't matter to you. You're having fun with someone else's house, and I'm stupid and uneven. It's really a glass of salt looking at Nanar. Ding Kuxin. As he said this, they all laughed together. Yunyang sat on the king and listened to him. She said, Every time you talk about this day, I don't understand. I don't know which dialect you are talking about. I won't mention it here. But he said that all the guests in front of him had arrived, and Simon King passed the wine with his crown on his head. Everyone let Kiao Dahu take the lead and hold the candle with Simon King first. I saw 3 of his singers coming out from behind, all with beaded crowns on their heads, and the fragrance of orchid and musk round them. When Earl Ying saw it, he jokingly said, Why are 3 pieces of cloth here? Stop him and don't let him in, he asked. My boss. Why doesn't Li Jiagaier come? Simon King said, I don't know. At first, Zhang Xiang played the zither, Wu Yin'er played the pipa, and Han Jinshuan played the lute. Opening her red lips and showing her white teeth, she started by singing a set of Water Fairy and Horseshoe Gold casting tiger head card. After a long time, the wine was handed over, and Kiao Dahu was the chief, followed by Uncle Wu, second uncle, Brother Hua, Uncle Shen, Earl Ying, Zi Zaida, Sun Zizui, Zhu Xinian, Chang Zhiji, Bai Lai Guang, Fu Zixin, and Ben. In the second chapter, a total of 14 people attended the banquet, and there were 8 tables. Simon King took the chair. There are less descriptions of the singing voice, the dancing posture, the wine flowing like waves, and the food stacking up like mountains. After a few rounds of wine and 3 sets of singing, Earl Ying spoke at the table and said, Master, there is no need to teach him how to sing every time. He is tossing and turning. There are only 2 sets of gulaumen on the left and right. Who can do it? Listen, you teach the official to bring 3 seats and pass the wine to everyone, but it's better than singing. Simon King said, Teach him 2 sets of lyrics to be filial to the elders and relatives. You are a bitch. Just waiting for the seats to be broken by shaking the table, Zhang Xianger said. Ying Huazi, put flowers behind your door. It won't be too late. The Earl walked down from the table in person and scolded, "You blame the little whore. Why is it so late? Isn't it too late? Your mother's Mao Bai, taught Diane, come here. Take the extra criminal law for him." He took one by one, pulled them to the banquet, and taught him to pass the wine. Zhang Xianger said, "It's strange that the dealer is pulling the person without his hands and feet touching the ground." The Earl said, "I tell you the truth, little slut. Time is limited. Soon the green sword will pass by. Hand over the wine. I'll wait." "No more." Zishi asked, "Why is it a green sword horse?" The Earl said, "After the jackdaw, it's a green sword horse." Everyone laughed. At present, Wu Yin'er handed over to Uncle Kiao, Zhang Xianger handed over to Uncle Wu, Han Yuchuaner handed over to Uncle Wu, and they handed over to the future in turn. Wu Yin'er fell behind and handed it to Earl Ying. The Earl asked, "Why doesn't Li Geier come?" Wu Yin'er said, "You don't know yet, but Sister Li Gui is now my goddaughter. I told my second father that I only keep it in my heart. But it's said that people are worried. We dispersed at my father's house the day before yesterday. They all went home and they will come back early tomorrow morning. I packed up at home and just waited for him." Unexpectedly, he bought a gift early and came first. "Come on, tell me to wait until it's too late. Make the girl look at his house and say that he is coming, so that she can tell her mother about me. Just accept me as your goddaughter and tell me what's going on. Why don't you help me? What share do you get? I do things without telling others." I sat on my mother's bed with my head in anger, and showed off that he was my mother's goddaughter. He peeled nuts, fixed fruit boxes, took things, and treated me every time, down a Shili. I don't know yet, but Liu Nang inside just whispered to me that he made a pair of shoes for the aunt. Bought a box of Pop-Tarts, 2 ducks, a pair of hooves, and to a bottle of wine. I came in a sedan a long time ago, tell him from beginning to end. The Earl heard this and said, "If he doesn't come out here now, it doesn't matter. I have to stop that little thief and whore from coming out. Let me tell you, he must have had a quarrel with his madam, seeing that your eldest father has become an official and holds the title of punishment. One is afraid of his power, and the other two are afraid that they will be separated. If they pretend to recognize their daughters, they will never break off the relationship. Is that what I am guessing? I will teach you a way, and he will admit it. If the aunt is your goddaughter, you can buy some gifts tomorrow, but just accept Liu Nang as your goddaughter. Both you and him are still on the same path as your father, who passed away, so you can go your own way. What I'm talking about is no. You don't have to worry about him." Wu Yin'er said. "Second dad said it. I'll tell mom when I get home." After saying that, he passed the wine, and Han Yuchuaner came next to him to pass the wine. The Earl said, "Sister Han Yu, please start. There is no need to salute." "What is your sister doing at home?" Yuchuaner said, "My sister's home is packed with people, and she has not come out to sing for a while." The Earl said, "I remember Mei, I have disturbed you, and I have never seen your sister again." Han Yuchuan said, "Why didn't the second father refuse to sit down that day and left so early?" The Count said, "It wasn't that I was still sitting there that day. The two of us are not on good terms, and it's your eldest father who is here to fight. So I'll leave first." Han Yuchuaner saw that he had had one drink and poured out another. The Earl said, "Come on, pour less. I can't eat anymore." Yuchuan said, "Second father, please come up slowly, and you can listen to me singing after you come up." The Earl said, "My sister, who is right?" "What do you mean? It just touches my heart. As the saying goes, you don't need to be rich in gold and silver to raise a child. You just need to fall in love with the scenery. But I am still a lichen courtyard baby. I will not worry about having nothing to eat tomorrow. It is better than the little thief of the Zheng family, my wife. I'm stabbing my bones. I just hide from where, and I won't sing anymore." Zhang Xianger said, "Ying er huazi, the sweat has caused you, so you're easy to scold." Simon King said, "You're such a talented dog. You're in the head." I made him sing, but this time I took him down. The Count said, "This is the boss's account. Now that I'm giving you wine, why don't you teach him how to sing? I have 3 pieces of silver, and I'm going to make that little whore grind the mill." Han Yuchuaner couldn't help but take the pipa and sang a little song at the table. The Earl asked the master, "Why didn't Sister Li Gui teach him to come out today?" Simon King said, "He didn't come today." The Earl said, "I just heard singing from behind. So I lied for him." The Earl asked Dan, "At least call him out from behind." The Diana refused to move and said, "The second father heard it wrong. Behind him is the female teacher, Sister Yu, who was playing and singing with my mother." The Count said, "The little thief is still coaxing me. Wait for me to call you from behind." Jushinian then said to Simon King, "Brother, it's okay. I just invite Sister Li Gui to come and give you a glass of wine with all the old relatives. It doesn't matter if you don't teach him to sing. I know that he will sing today. The favor has come." Simon King couldn't get entangled in this incident, so he had to ask Diane to go back and invite Sister Li Gui. Sister Li Gui was playing the pipo in Yunyang's upper room and singing with Da Zhenzi, Miss Yang, and Grandma Pan. When she saw Dan coming in and calling him, she asked, "Who asked you to come?" Dan said, "Father taught me to come. Ask Aunt Gui to come up and pass you a round of wine." Sister Gui said, "Mom, look at Daddy's Xiao Dao. I can't say anything out of my head, so you came to call me again." Dan said, "Daddy couldn't be bothered by everyone, so he asked me to come in." Yunyang said, "Forget it. You go out and deliver the wine to the patrol, and you'll be back soon." Sister Gui asked Diane again, "It's really your father who called me, so I'll go out. If it's Ying or Huazi, just ask him what he did. I will never go out in my life." So Xiang Yunyang dressed up again in front of the mirror. Everyone saw that he was wearing a silver silk hairpin, surrounded by gold and silk hairpins, piled with pearls and emeralds. Wearing lotus root silk clothes, a jade silk skirt, a pair of pointed red mandarin ducks, and pink faces. There are 3 green flowers on it. There was a smell of strange fragrance, and he just kowtowed to the dishonest people at the table. He covered his face with a fan sprinkled with gold, pretended to be shy, and stood in front of Simon King. Simon King then ordered Dan to put ginger on the table and teach him how to serve wine with Kiao Dahu. Kiao Dahu hurriedly leaned over and said, "No need to work, they are all distinguished relatives." Simon King said, "Let's start with you, Uncle Kiao." Sister Gui then waved her sleeves, held up the golden bottle, and handed it to Kiao Dahu. "Liquor," the Earl said from the side. "Sir Kiao, please sit down and let him stand. It is his duty to sing and serve the fans of Lichen Courtyard. Don't get used to him." Kiao Dahu said, "Second elders, this sister my son is Ling Shui, a high-ranking official. How dare I make such a move, which makes me uneasy?" The Earl said, "Don't worry, old man. He doesn't want to be a bitch anymore. Seeing that the Lord has become an official, he is willing to accept her as his goddaughter." Sister Gui then blushed and said, "You've got me. Who are you talking nonsense, young master? Each of us has 5 cents of silver as a favor, and we will send them to my brother to have my daughter with him." The Earl took it and said, "It would be better for me to become an official. Since ancient times, I have not been afraid of official positions, only fear of management. This time I will do it. I have a daughter too. Sprinkle some water on it tomorrow and twist it out." Simon King scolded him, "You are such a thief and a bitch. You are just minding your own business and talking nonsense." The Earl said, "Hu Tai, you are beating me with a good knife." Zhang Xiang was passing Uncle Shen some wine when she interrupted. "Sister Li Gui has become a goddaughter because of Erhuasi. You can make a godson with your eldest father tomorrow, and you can become a godson by hanging over." The Earl scolded, "Thief! Little slut! You don't have to do anything. I won't pester you to recite Buddha's name." Sister Li Gui said, "Sister Xiang, scold this slut for me." Zhang Xianger said, "Ignore Wang Jiangnan, Bashan Huer, Kan Nangshan, and Twill." The Earl said, "You little whore, you are scolding me in your tone. I have no idea. I am just a white ghost. The belt of your mother's pants is also torn. If he doesn't do you any favors tomorrow, you won't be afraid of not treating the general as a god." Sister Gui said, "Let's not mess with him, brother is ready." Zhang Xiang he smiled and said, "This is Erhuazi." Giyu got on the car today, pushing Chu Dongguo, so ugly that he didn't have time. He turned out to be a prince's son. The count said, "This little Wige younger, no one wants it. I will do it." Sister Gui scolded, "It's strange to use the knife to clean your mouth, and the toothbrush is already broken. Dad, why don't you hit me? He's been here for a while. Look at his taunting." Simon King scolded, "What a weird dog. Teach him to pass the wine. Why don't you fight him?" He walked towards the table and beat him. The Earl said, "You little slut. You said you rely on a man's power and I'm afraid of you? Look at how sweet he calls Dad." Then he said, "Don't teach him to pass the wine. It will be beneficial to him. Bring the criminal law and teach him to sing a set and listen to it." He hid behind him for a while and the slipper hooked up. Han Yuchuaner said, "Second father, Keojo's military preparations are in charge of broad matters. The front hall here is full of flowers. Drinking and playing are not a problem." Since Li Ping'er gave birth to a child, Dan Biao Panjinlian has always seen Simon King sleeping in his room, so she has always been jealous and harbored injustice. Simon Singh placed wine in the front hall, skillfully painted to moths in front of the mirror, supported the cicada the beggar, lightly touched his red lips, and dressed himself before leaving the room. Hearing the cry of the child in Li Ping'er's room, he walked in and asked, "Why is he crying like this?" Ryer, the nurse, said, "My mother went back. My brother is looking for my mother. How can I cry like this?" Pan Jinlian was smiling. He stepped forward to tease the child and said, "You are a newborn little person. And you already know your mother. Wait until I carry you behind to find your mother." Nanny Ryer said, "Wu Niang, don't hug your brother. I'm afraid he peed on Wu Niang for a while." Jin Lian said, "It smells like meat. What's the matter with you? It's okay to hold him up with a lining." She picked up Brother Guan and held him in her arms and walked back. Walking to the front of Yemen, he lifted the child high in one step. Unexpectedly, Wu Yunyang was sitting in the corridor in the upper room, watching her family and daughter-in-law changing the dishes. Then Pan Jinlian looked at the child with a smile and said, "Big Mom, what are you doing?" "You said, the little official is here to find my mother. Here he comes." Yunyang suddenly raised her head and saw it, and said, "Fifth sister, what did you say? His mother was not here a long time ago. What are we doing to carry him out tonight for nothing? He was raised so high that I was afraid of bluffing him. Hold him, his mother is busy in the house." Then he shouted, "Sister Li, come out, your son is looking for you." Li Ping'er hurried out and saw Jin Lian hugging him, and said, "Little big sister, please come out, your son is looking for you." Guaner is well in the house with his breasts in his arms. "Why are you looking for me for nothing? I've seen you at your fifth mother." Jin Lian said, "He's in the house. He's crying for you. I'll take him out for a walk." Li Ping'er hurriedly untied his arms and took it over. Yunyang teased him for a while and then said, "Just carry him into the room, don't scare him." Li Ping'er came to the front and whispered to her, "When he cries, you slowly coax him and wait for me. Come on, how do you teach Wu Niang to carry him to the back and look for me?" Ryer said, "Come on, Wu Niang wants to carry him again and again." Then Li Ping'er slowly watched him feed him, then put him to sleep. Unexpectedly, not long after sleeping, the child started crying in his sleep and had chills and fever in the middle of the night. He wouldn't even eat milk from her breasts. He would just cry. Li Ping'er panicked. "Let's talk about the banquet in front of Simon King," and sent for singers out. Yunyang and Sister Li Gui bought a set of heavy silk velvet gold clothes for 2 taels of silver. No need to elaborate, Simon King went to Li Ping'er's room to see the baby in the evening. Seeing that the baby was only crying, he asked, "What's the matter?" Li Ping'er didn't mention Jin Lian and carried him behind him, but only said, "Somehow, he cries like this when he wakes up and doesn't even eat milk." Simon King said, "Put him to sleep well." Yin scolded Ryer, "It's hard to look at my brother. What does it matter? I bluffed him. He walked behind and looked at you." Mother said, Yunyang knew that Jinlian had brought him out to scare him, so she didn't say a word to Simon King. She only said, "I will ask Mrs. Liu to look at him tomorrow. Simon King said, "Stop teaching that old whore to do random acupuncture. Please also ask the pediatrician to see the child." Yunyang refused to listen to him and said, "A child who has just turned 1 month old is not a pediatrician." The next day, Simon Xingzhao was sent to the Yamen, and the young man invited Mrs. Liu to come and see him. He said he was shocked. "I gave him 3 pieces of silver. After giving him some medicine, the child was able to sleep soundly and no longer needed milk." Li Pinger dropped a stone to the ground. Exactly, full of secrets, all kept silently.
Alright, this part of the story ends here.
Want to know what happened next? Let's listen to the breakdown next time.